129 on the board for Mumbai, huffing and puffing their way there, especially with a couple of sixes in that fine lover bowled by Ravichandran Ashwin. Otherwise, it could have been an even lower total. As it is, can't really judge what it is because it's no more than 10 short of the kind of average total we've been talking about in Sharjah. 129 for 8. There's confirmation of that total. Krunal Pandya getting a few runs at the end, that 1-6 that he finished off with. Surya Kumar Yadav finding some form, but just when you were expecting him to get to a bigger score. 33 of 26 is what he finished up with. Here we are to assess that first half on Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle, in the company of Joy Bhattacharjya and Shaun Pollock. Shaun, lots of build-up to this particular innings. Mumbai losing the toss, needing to put something on the board. On the face of it, 129 seems a few short.
Yeah, we talked about last Saturday. What was the best score there? Was 125. We've topped it. We've topped it by 4. Just 129. Yeah, not what they were after. We almost were waiting for the fireworks to come, and we know the potential of so many of those individuals, but it just never got going. You know, Delhi kept picking up wickets and bowling really well. Akshar Patel was superb. Avesh Khan was brilliant. And as you can see there, no one really kicked on. But for those last 2 sixes, get the run rate to 8.4 in the last 4 overs. But besides that, yeah, hovering under 6. So no fireworks. Average surface. I think it was a difficult one, as I mentioned at the Combox. It looked like it was standing up a little bit and difficult to hit away, and that's become the nature of what we've come to expect at Sharjah. But is it enough? Have they got the abilities to defend 129? You would think with this Delhi team, the way they're in, I'm not so sure. But yeah, a little bit disappointing. We didn't see much.
But Joy, it was all about the tactics. Of course, brilliant bowling. But before we actually assess the two individuals who stood out there and the unit in general, it was about who bowls where that I think they hit the nail on the head with.
Absolutely. I mean, they did concede. They knew that Ashwin was their weak link. They were bowling with 5. They knew Ashwin was their weak link. They could have bowled him in the 14, 15, 16, 17. They said, let's do something. Let's go as deep as possible. And they were gambling that they'd get enough people out that the assault really would mean more. So he went for runs. He went for 12, 13 runs. But he could have easily gone for 20, 25 then. And had he gone for 20, 25 then, the shackles might have been broken. So yes, kudos to them. Again, look at this is the same team. I think the way Nokia and Rabada adjusted their length from the last match. Against the Kolkata match, they were trying to go shorter, and the Kolkata guys were getting a chance to ramp them or trying to hit them over the offside, playing cute strokes. Today they said, on this surface, just let me keep the length right here. So there's no opportunity for really ramping and all. You want to hit me, you hit me straight down. And that's something that they did really well. I think they learned from their mistakes. This is a side under Ponting that's learning from its mistakes and it's adapting to this ground. So, 3 days after playing that like that against Kolkata on this ground, I thought their bowling today was absolutely super. Spot on. Absolutely spot on.
Let's just have a look at the numbers, and I'll bring Shaun Pollock in with just what the bowlers have done. We saw Ashwin concede those 2 sixes at the end, and obviously he was bowling in an unfamiliar position because they were just trying tactically to use the key bowlers while the big all-rounders were in, Shaun. And I think that tactic worked, using up Avesh, using up Nokia, using Rabada at those times.
Yeah, brilliant. I want you to keep that graphic up there because I think the detail of it, the dot balls of Nokia, you need to assess. The dot balls of Avesh Khan, you need to assess 16. Kakisa Rabada, probably not at his best today. A couple of no balls as well thrown in. Akshar Patel, brilliant. And even the fact that there weren't as many dot balls, anything that they did get away was only singles. I don't think he was hit. I can remember him being hit for a proper boundary. Ashwin, for me, it's funny how when you've watched so much cricket and you've watched over the years, he really looked in a bit of a defensive mindset. When he got to the crease, he was, how can I get out of here? How can I not have any damage done? And that's not when he's at his best. When he goes in there with belief, I'm going to beat each outside edge or inside edge, and maybe I can pick up some wickets, that's when he comes into his own. I just had that, even the way he was rushing through the overs, you just got that feeling he was, because he maybe felt it was a small ground, he wanted to just get out of there. And, sometimes, the predators, when I say the predators, the batsmen, they pick up on that. They pick on the fact that this guy's not backing himself. He's not feeling confident. Oh, this is like the weak lamb. Let's go after him. And I think they did brilliantly to hold him back. I think Mumbai lost their way a little bit too in waiting for him to come back. They were almost like, well, we're not going to go because next over is Ashwin. We're not going to go next over is Ashwin. And then he never came, and they didn't get anywhere. So, yeah, I was impressed by the way they bowled. I think the tactics were really good. And now I just have to see whether that surface is as bad as it looks or whether Delhi can make it look a little bit easier.
So first things first, we've sorted out the fact that batsmen are predators and quizzers are vultures. So we'll try and find a role.
Going out there, you just keep out there anyway. Keep going.
We'll try and sort a role for everybody out there. But Joy, Akshar Patel, Shaun's talked about the quicker bowlers. It was just that strangling in the middle. Of course, Akshar took the wickets, but it was also the dot balls that Shaun's referred to. They had a period with 10 dot balls in a row around between the 13th and the 15th overs. That doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, I think he bowled brilliantly, and I think what Akshar Patel does very well is that he brings the ball down to dip even on the ball that he's bowling, tossing the ball up. The ball is dipping in that, he's not getting under the full toss. You're not able to get under the full toss and really give it any elevation. And that's how he got his first wicket as well. And I think that's the greatness of what's happening out here. I think Akshar Patel knows exactly what he has to do as a bowler right now, which Ashwin doesn't at this point in time. And I think that's the difference you see between those two bowlers at this point in time. Ashwin knows what he has to do, knows where he has to bowl, and he knows that at some point they have to collar him. See, it's a T20 match. They cannot not take risks. And I think what the Mumbai batsmen were doing, maybe for the first 4-5 matches, they went out, took their shots, got out. Now what's happened is it's a bit of the reverse. They've become a bit timid. They're also scared to take on bowlers. And what's happened therefore is if you see somebody like Akshar, if you allow him to settle into his length, if you're not going to step out to him at all, then you're in trouble. Because if you're rooted to the crease, somebody like Akshar is lethal. Because he comes straight on with the arm. Okay, so you always an LB shout, you're an LB shout or you're a wicket shout. You have to go and try and change his length a little bit. And they didn't do that. The other thing is Mumbai is well known for the way they use their crease. People like Hardik Pandya and all, they're well known for the way they move forward, backward, don't allow bowlers to settle. You are not seeing that now. They're so messed in their head right now about what they need to do. You're not seeing those kind of adjustments being made as often as they normally are. And that's something that is a very un-Mumbai-like batting performance.
Shaun, I think of all things, normally we never jump onto our little WhatsApp group with comments unless something untoward happens. And pretty much at the same time, we seem to have this telepathy going on more things than one today. At the same time, we were both furiously typing when they had that period of 10 dot balls in a row, which extended to, I think, 12 out of 13 deliveries. Just one single and a wide in that period.
Yeah, for sure. And, when we go on game drives here, safaris in South Africa, the one thing you want to see is a leopard. And you don't see it all that often because it's hiding in the trees. It's the same thing. You don't see a string of dot balls like this in the T20 match. It never happens. When do you get 13 balls and only get 2 runs scored, 1 wide and 1 single? So, yeah, I think that's why we were touching on that point. And that was where they lost their way. And that was when they were waiting for Ashwin. So... yeah, not the best from Mumbai. Situation they found themselves in. If they lose this game, their net run rate's not great. They're going to have to win both of their last games, and then still, because of the net run rate, they're not looking to qualify. So I would imagine there's been some strong words at that halftime break. And your self-belief, 129 is all you got. Well, 129 is going to have to be enough. You got to go in that mindset that if we throw our bodies around, we maybe make some brilliant stops. We can make it an extra 10 runs that they have to get. If we pick up some early wickets, we can put them under pressure. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out and what the plans are at the start.
Seem to be some strong words being said in the huddle by Rohit Sharma. But whether the words will be enough or not, we don't know, because Delhi's approach, let's quickly get to Delhi's approach before they come into bat. We know Shikhar Dhawan's been in a certain kind of form. Shreyas Iyer sort of settled in there. Let's quickly talk about Rishabh Pant, Joy. And, he plays pretty much one way. But assuming it gets to a point where he comes in and things are not quite settled yet.
See, they have all the options with them. If you look at how Rishabh Pant plays, I think he can play on both gears. I don't think he's as much of a slam bang player. Look at the strike rate, 120.2. And it's not 120.2 necessarily because he's striking. It's a lot of this 120 that you see is chases where he hasn't needed to go so hard. So he's just tempered his game and said, why should I take so many risks? If the asking is 7.5, why am I going to try and hit it over the ground? So I think he's matured as a player. I think that what you see in strike rate is not just a reflection of that. It's a reflection of the team around it. Also, look at the guys on that team with license to kill. The license to kill guys, there's just a Bond film release right now, are Prithvi Shaw and Shimran Hetmare. Nobody's asking them to temper their game. Go there, play your game. Then around them, you have Shikhar Dhawan, you have Shreyas Iyer, you have Steve Smith. All the rest of the guys can adjust their game according to what's happening. But they'll be telling Prithvi Shaw and Shimron, whatever the situation, you guys play your natural game, because it's no point trying to change them because they don't change very well. And then again, you'll be looking at to target. So I definitely Trent Bolt is somebody that he bowls beautifully. He can get you early wickets. But if you step up and you hit him a couple of times, he's also susceptible to changing his length and not knowing where to bowl. So they are going to attack, and I can't see them sit back and say that, okay, it's just 130, let's play our way around and see what's happening. I think Prithvi will play just the way Prithvi Shaw plays.
But Shaun, with Rishabh Pant, is that also got something to do with the captain's hat on? Is he being a little more responsible with that added?
Well, I'd hope so. Maturity should come with a captaincy role. You need to play your role. It's not about just flair. You need to deal with the situation of the game. If I have to go hard, I go hard. If I have to be the guy here who's at the back end and get the team over the line, that's what you need to do. Also, the nature of some of the surfaces they played on at the start of the tournament didn't allow that free-flowing innings. And today probably would be another case in point. You can't just walk out there and whack it to all parts. If he gets in today, he needs to go to strike rate of 120 and get his team over the line. So I think that's maturity. When you start to adjust your game according to what the match requires, means that you're learning the art of being a leader and doing what has to be done.
All right, prediction time. But before that, Joy, have you managed to check if answers have come in for your question today?
No, I haven't actually. I should check, but I don't think they'll need any more clues. I promise.
All right, fair enough. Then I was going to give a clue as we had promised, but I won't give any. Then let's leave it at that.
I think they've come in.
We might as well just give that, just in case they haven't come in. We're just going to tell you who the players are. Just the players are the individuals. We're talking Dennis Lillee, Matty Hayden. So for those of you who may still want a little bit of a clue and might still want to jump on the bandwagon, those are the two players involved. All we have left on this show is, because we didn't get it right the first time around, we tried to lowball. Shaun, you did. You went for a decent low score. You were still 10 runs off the mark.
Yeah, but the key was, if you remember, the first thing I said was 42. Right. And that was because I knew none of us were going to get it right in the first innings, and 42 is what they're going to get in the first 6 overs this time round.
All right, so you're using the 42 for the 6 overs for Delhi.
42.
I told you.
Summer of 42. Okay, Joy, what about you?
47.
47. Okay, I'm going a little bit lower. They're going to be conservative in their approach. 35, 42, 47. That's what we have for you as far as this is concerned. It's 130. But since Joy already alluded to the fact that a Bond film is released, possibly Rohit Sharma might have just told them, Mumbai, this is no time to die. We are still in it. We'll see you soon. This is Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle.